Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. We are talking preseason because football is kind of sort of here. I know it's not the football we all really want. That's a few weeks away still, but we are right beginning to get a look at some players, get a look at some teams and some new coaches, some new offenses, a lot of rookies and some new faces in some new places, as well as some old faces in new places, like Andrew Erickson. He's super old. He's 30 now, but we still keep him around. Andrew, I still think you're in your prime. I don't care what anybody says, but I am excited to announce the newest member of our BP Fantasy Pros family. It's the one, the only Terrell Furman Jr. is here. Terrell, I know you've been a guest of ours in the past over on the FP side, and it's great to have you here with us now full time. You're going to be doing the fast break bets for us. You're going to be doing NFL coverage for us, some college football coverage. What's more exciting right now, the return of Roman Reigns at SummerSlam or the debut of Terrell Furman Jr. on Betting Pros?
As much as I would love to say it's my debut on Betting Pros, Roman Reigns, did you feel the aura? I felt it from North Carolina. I was getting chills. Like, oh my gosh, I could sit here all day and talk about Roman Reigns and how great our tribal chief is. The one tribal chief, original tribal chief, whatever the O stands for, he is that tribal chief. So I'm great. I'm happy to be here. It's really a lot of fun. I can't wait for the future just to be able to do all this. Fast break bets is on the way. Fast break bets is on the way. Going to be talking about basketball year round. WNBA is coming back. It is coming back, and it's going to be back soon. And my 60% win percentage in WNBA is going to follow with it. So let's do it.
Ooh, look at that. They're bringing the swagger already on day one. I love it. So the boys have put together their favorite preseason bets for week one. And Andrew, I know this is our joy is NFL and certainly betting NFL, but there is a little bit of I don't want to say it's a chore, but it's a little harder because preseason, it's tough to get a gauge. You got to really read the tea leaves and get in between the lines there and figure out who's going to play, how much they're going to play, what kind of impact that's going to be. So what's your process when you're starting to look at preseason games? Because it is very difficult. It's hard enough in regular season, let alone in preseason, where you have so many questions just about who's going to be on the field and how much.
I think for me, it comes down to the coaching staffs who have been in the preseason, how they handle it. Do they care about the preseason or not? Do they care about winning the game or not? So, because we're all getting the news nuggets about, well, this team says X amount of players and starters are going to play in this game. Well, the lines are going to shift in that way. You're never going to see a team favored to win when they're going to play all their backups. The team that's favored with all their starters that are going to play longer is going to be the favorite team. But just because the starters are playing doesn't necessarily mean the team's going to win, because in the second half, when it's all third and fourth stringers, well, one coach really wants to win the game. And that's why he's going to cover the point spread. So I think my number one thing I look at when it comes to preseason is looking at some of the coaching trends, especially with coaches who have been with teams for a very, very long time. Guys like Andy Reid, guys like Mike Tomlin, where the track record goes back so far that I get a pretty good feel of how they actually are going to treat the preseason, and then I can make my bets accordingly.
Well, preseason football is here. Let's talk to the pros. Let's start here with Terrell's prop number one. Terrell, let's walk through Texans at Steelers because this is nice. You and Erickson right off the bat already holding hands, running through the fields together. You guys see eye to eye on this one. Let's start with your take on Texans Steelers.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's exactly what Erickson just talked about. You got to trust the coaches that shown you in the past they take the preseason serious. They want to win games. Doesn't matter if it counts or doesn't count. And that's Mike Tomlin for you. Excuse me, but Mike Tomlin here, hey, 36-29-1 ATS in his career in the preseason, 40-24 straight up. You're getting a short number here against the Texans, who are going up against a young head coach in DeMarco Ryans, who, hey, he came in last year. He was able to bring out the best in CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud looked really good, but in preseason, people were questioning if CJ Stroud was even going to be that guy. And now you have not only Mike Tomlin, but Justin Fields, who is a preseason stud, 6-2 in his preseason career, 58-88, 66% completion percentage, 699 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks, 18 rushes for 130 and a touchdown. He's one of the greatest preseason quarterbacks of all time. He comes in, he plays really well. They have a really good depth chart behind him at QB with Kyle Allen, with the rookie John Rice Plumlee. They're all mobile. I think they're going to look really, really good in this offense and being able to run the same thing with Fields to Allen to Plumlee. So, yeah, I think that I'm just going to trust Tomlin again and be able to get it done.
Yeah, it's very easy to put your faith in Mike Tomlin. Erickson, Terrell laid out a lot of information there about Steelers and Texans. What else do you want to add to it? Because you are also in on this same exact game in the same exact side.
Yeah, I know. We talked about Mike Tomlin's record against the spread and straight up in the preseason. More recently, 9-1 in the preseason, straight up in their last 10 preseason games. So it's been not just Mike Tomlin's long term, but in the short term, they've won games 3-0 against the spread last NFL preseason. And the thing with Fields, kid, great preseason quarterback, but he has also everything to prove in these games. He's trying to become the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has every avenue to, I got to run. I got to use my mobility. I can't take plays off. So I think you can see a lot from Fields here where he's really trying to show the Steelers that they can trust him as their QB1 and they want to get an extended look at him. The quarterback, they don't have a quarterback under contract heading into 2025. They need to know, hey, can Fields potentially be this guy at his age? And this is going to give him an extended look in the preseason. So I think the Steelers easy here. Team that we're going to see put up a decent amount of points. You have Fields. You have the record with Mike Tomlin. Give me the Steelers.
All right, so everyone's in on the Steelers. Let's go to our next game here because the boys also have some thoughts on Panthers at Patriots before I get to my New England friend, Andrew Erickson. Terrell, let's get your take on this one too, because you're looking at the spread on Panthers Pats.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the line movement, but the line has moved. This line opened up at 2 and it's all the way to 6.5. And it's probably because uh that, the Panthers came out and said that Bryce Young is not playing in this game. And I'm sure that's probably why the line moved a little bit. They're not only don't have Bryce Young, but they also don't have Andy Dalton playing either. So you're going to see Jack Plummer, old Purdue, Louisville. He's been around in college football. He's a pretty solid quarterback. Like, I don't think he's terrible. He's coming off an ACC championship game. So he's a really solid quarterback. They're going to have him. They're going to give him the start. He's going to play a lot of minutes. And then you have Jake Luton, who been around with the Jags. He was with a pit stop over there in the Seattle Seahawks. And now he's here with Carolina. Last preseason, he looked pretty okay. And he's been good. 2-7, 41 yards and a touchdown in his first game, 6-12, 74 yards and an interception in the second game. But the big reason for the fade here is just that I don't think that New England's offense looks good right now. Looking at, team Reddit, so that's what I do in my process. I go to team Reddits and I try to find anything I can on how these guys look in practice coming up into the game. And right now, the question is, Drake May doesn't look that good. He's taking time to adjust to the league. He's making bad throws. He's throwing interceptions. He doesn't really have the tackles on the offensive line that are really taking care of him. They've been rotating rookies, undrafted rookies, longtime veterans at tackle spot, and they just haven't figured it out. So I think that that's going to be an issue with this Carolina defense that I think is going to look a lot better this year. So, and a quick little tidbit to close us out. Since 2017, the team with the previous worst record in the league are 4-2 straight up in the preseason in their first game. The only 2 L's, nobody else but the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Interesting take there too. And also especially about the defense too, not having Burns anymore. It's going to be a different looking unit. So we'll see how they end up playing. They ended up moving to the Giants this offseason. Erickson, let's get your take on this same game too, because you're also on it, but for different reasons than Terrell.
Yeah, so I like the total over 34 points in this game. Looking at the week 1 preseason slate, so this opened at 34.5 down to 34, and it's the lowest one on the slate. So when you're looking at the preseason, the demarcation line when it comes to the totals is 37 points. Essentially what happens is the over is going to hit at a higher rate when it's under 37 points, and then the under hits at a higher rate when it's at under 37 points. So 34.5, clearly under that 37 point threshold. So that kind of opened my eyes to, okay, could this game be a potential over spot? And the way I see it, so yeah, we talked about Drake May a little bit, how he's been struggling in camp. Well, I'm not necessarily sure he's going to play this entire game. He's going to get his fair share of series, but he's going to be trying to score points. And the same thing with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett's going to play in this game. He is their starting quarterback, going to be most likely for week 1. He's going to try to score points. Joe Milton, a rookie with talented upside and mobility. He's going to try and score points. Bailey Zappi was the Patriots starting quarterback for the second half of the season last year, and he's on the roster bubble.
Why do you remind me of these things, Andrew?
Because he's going to want to score points in this game. The Patriots quarterbacks all have something to prove. So for me, that's enough motivation. They want to put up points on the board. The Patriots are not going to come out here with Robert Kraft and how bad this offense was last year. Robert Kraft is telling his coaches, hey, we got to score points. It's at Gillette Stadium. It's the home opener, quote unquote, for the preseason. The Patriots fans are hopefully going to be juiced up for it. When I see Drake May run out of the tunnel to AC/DC, I'm going to be juiced up. So I think they're going to want to score points here. So I like the over overall in this game, just given the track record with that 37-point threshold. It's way under that at 34.5. I think the Patriots offense has something to prove. And so that's why I'm going to go with the over in this game.
All right. And remember to everybody out there to also make sure that you are downloading the Betting Pros app too, for iOS, for Android. Use the free sync to all your sports books. Make sure you also use the pick tracker feature too. And that's something that's very helpful. You can track all your wagers in one spot, and it'll even analyze your wagers too and tell you what things you're good at betting, what things you're not so good at betting. And the great thing is you can get better very quickly by using all the tools at Betting Pros. And also you can follow some of the people that are red hot in the markets that you want to be betting in, whether it be NBA, MLB, or obviously in this case, NFL. So make sure you download the Betting Pros app. Start betting smarter, not harder. Nobody wants to bet harder. You got to bet smarter here. Terrell and Erickson also have some feelings about Eagles and Ravens. And I love this again because the guys have a bit of a consensus, and we love the consensus over here. The more smart people that seem to be in on the same thing, usually that's a good thing. And certainly the Ravens have quite a track record, Terrell, I would say, in terms of the preseason.
Oh, a track record. I mean, this might be the greatest streak that's better than the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. I mean, this is and guess what? Guess what? Now they finally lost one. They finally went and lost another one. They won 23 straight preseason games and then finally lost one. Now we're back on the wagon. I mean, John Harbaugh has proven he's one of the greatest preseason quarterbacks of all. Coaches of all time. Look at his record week 1 in the preseason. He is 15-1 over the course of his career. I'm not fading that. You're giving me plus money. It says +2 there. Just play the money line. Play the money line. The Ravens are winning this game. I'm not even questioning anything. Tyler Huntley isn't on his team anymore, and I think that's where a lot of people are like, oh, are they going to be able to do it? They've been so good in their quarterback room and just keeping that quarterback room consistent with how they want to run that offense that I think Josh Johnson is going to be fine. I think that they're not going to have any layoff there. So, yeah, I love the Ravens here. I'm not questioning about it. I'm trusting Harbaugh, and I'm trusting the one in Baltimore.
Well, certainly the track record and the history would suggest that's a good thing to trust. Erickson, you are also trusting the Ravens as well. In what avenue are you looking at this particular game this week?
I mean, we get the sun-running preseason Ravens as underdogs. The team that team that cares about the preseason more than anybody else, we get them as dogs. So I think that's super obvious there. You look at these teams actually played last year in the preseason. Baltimore won, but they didn't cover the spread. But again, these teams have already played in the preseason before, same head coaches, and the Ravens won the game. The Eagles, under Nick Sirianni, 1-6-2 straight up in the preseason during the last 3 seasons. Philly doesn't not care about winning these preseason games, and the Ravens do. So last year, the Eagles 1-2 against the spread. They were winless overall in last year's preseason. They had 1 tie. So for me, I think it's obvious. Just go with the Ravens, a team that has been very profitable to bet on and back in the preseason, which you can't say about basically any other team. So getting them as underdogs, again, I like Furman's call there, just going straight for the money line. Go straight for the throat. Give me the money line.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next game here that we have. Back to Terrell. Lions at Giants. Terrell, break this one down for me.
Oh, I mean, here I am, the local Giants fan. And so I know some people may not have seen or be as deep into the weeds this training camp as I am. But I know you saw the ESPN notification where the Giants and the Lions got fined $200,000 each because of all the fights that are going on. I want you to know right now, they were fighting at Commanders camp with whoever the Commanders are playing. I can't remember right now, but they were fighting. Basically, everybody was fighting, but the Lions and the Giants got penalized. Why did they get penalized? Because they kept fighting and fighting and fighting. The practices were physical. I mean, our rookie running back got his head taken off on a helmet-to-helmet play in practice. Like, both of these two teams gave it all during practice this week. I just truly don't believe they have anything else left to give. Like, I really don't. I don't think they have anything else left to give. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. It's going to be ugly. The defenses stood up in practice. We took very much abused the offensive line of the Lions during practice, where it was sacked by Burns, sacked by Lawrence, sacked by Thibodeau. Like, it was constant pressure. And I don't trust the Giants offensive line as far as I could throw them, and I can't throw them far. So I don't think it's going to be many points here. Give me the under 35.
All right, so the under for Terrell on that one. Let's go to Erickson with another one of his picks for week 1 of the preseason. This one has to do with the Raiders and Vikings. Erickson, let's break this one down.
Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders -4. They're playing at Minnesota during week 1 of the preseason, and the Vikings just don't care about preseason games. Like they follow. Look at Kevin O'Connell. So he comes from the Sean McVay tree, where I don't play anybody in the preseason that I care about, that I want to see actually be a part of our offense, a part of our starting unit when the real games come on. So Vikings are 0-9 over their last 3 preseasons. I just think that the Raiders, a team that is going through a quarterback competition, they need to figure out who their starting quarterback is, whether it's Aiden O'Connell, whether it's Gardner Minshew. So again, I'm backing teams and offenses that have motivation for their quarterbacks to play well, to try and score touchdowns. It doesn't matter what the score is. If I'm Gardner Minshew, I want to score on every single time I touch the ball. The same thing with Aiden O'Connell. He wants to score every time he touches the ball. So the Raiders are 6-1 in the preseason over their last 7 preseason games. Meanwhile, the Vikings, again, I talked about their record, 0-9 last 3 preseasons. Fewest touchdowns scored. So they're also not scoring a lot on offense. So even though it's a 4-point spread, I think the Raiders cover here on the road.
All right, so a cover on the road there again. Certainly a fun situation here, looking at a different version of the Vikings, and hopefully the Raiders starting to maybe potentially turn the page into what their new identity is going to be with Antonio Pierce. We saw a bit of that last year too, and I think that was an exciting turn of that page, and I think it's a good thing for Raider Nation. Let's get back to some other picks here, and let us get to Terrell for one more. Packers at Browns, and Terrell, you like the Browns on the -3.
Yeah, I do. I mean, thank you, Erickson, for letting me know before we came on air that they need to fire the strength and conditioning coach over there in Green Bay, because everybody's getting hurt. Nobody is able to play anything. And so, I mean, you have a whole bunch of injuries on the Green Bay side. You have a coach, as Erickson said, as we both talked about, we like to fade coaches that don't take the preseason serious. You got Matt LaFleur, who's 5-8 in the preseason, ATS and straight up. And then you have the Browns, who, look, I understand that the Browns, I'm only looking at one person, and that's preseason god Tyler Huntley, coming over from Baltimore and is now playing for the Browns. This is a complete back of Tyler Huntley in the preseason, who plays well. He gets the offense moving. He's able to help put points on the board. And then you have DTR, who I still really like. We loved DTR in the preseason last year, and I think he's going to look better this year with another year in the offense. And so it's going to get a little bit more familiarity in that locker room with the quarterbacks and being able to move the ball. But I think that the Browns care a little bit more about this game than the Packers do. I'm taking the Browns.
I love that. And I do agree. A little more Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and everyone's life would do well. All right, Erickson, let's wrap things up with one more of your favorites for week 1 of the NFL preseason. This one has to do with the Chiefs and Jags.
Yeah, so we got 2 familiar coaches going head-to-head here. We got Doug Peterson going against Andy Reid. Jaguars have come out and said that they're going to have their starters play a series or 2. And Doug Peterson, up to last year, had historically not cared much about the preseason. But last year, he kind of shocked the world and, we're going to win all these games. We're going to go 3-0 during the preseason. So that made me very upset. But what happens sometimes? Coaches go back to their roots. So I think that Doug Peterson knows that last year, one of the biggest things that affected their season was injuries. The offensive line got hurt. Christian Kirk got hurt. So I think they're going to be a little bit more conservative. Again, he says he's going to play the starters a series or 2. That's fine. But the Jaguars are favored here. So I'm going to take the Chiefs as dogs plus 2.5 on the against the spread, because KC, it's not that Andy Reid cares about the preseason, but he just likes to experiment. He likes to do weird things, but it always results in points scored for the Kansas City Chiefs. 8-2 over their last 10 preseason games. So they've always been an offense that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And the backup quarterback for the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs is Carson Wentz, a very veteran NFL quarterback who wants to score points. So I think you're going to see some exotic things from this Chief offense. They're going to be doing weird things with Kadarius Toney out of the backfield, scoring touchdowns left and right. So Andy Reid traditionally has been more involved in the preseason than Doug Peterson. So that's what I'm going to back here, especially with Jacksonville dealing with some offensive line injuries right now during training camp. So I'm going to take the Chiefs plus 2.5.
All right, there you have it, everybody. That is the look at week 1 of the preseason. Make sure you download the BettingPros app. Bet smarter, not harder. Sync your sports books for free and use the tools to help you become a better, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Terrell Furman Jr., I'm so excited that you're here hanging out with us, and you're going to be with us all NFL season for NBA, for college football, all of the stuff in between. Andrew Erickson, always great to hang out and talk with you as well, and the breakdowns of the games. I can't wait till the games really count, and then we really start getting into things, because we are really pushing the envelope this year. We are going to be here every single day, Monday through Friday, right here on the channel, giving you the best of NFL betting this year. So make sure, if you're not already, make sure that you are actually subscribing to our Betting Pros podcast right here, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Drop your comments below and ring the bell till it goes ding, because we're also giving away a ton of fun things as well all season long. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Terrell and Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.